couple dollars a week. They had over 30 buildings here. To give you guys a good idea on how large their estate was, 2 of his original 3 chicken coops have now been converted into single-family homes. Everyone always asks about these 2 homes here off to the right, and to be completely honest, I can't tell you much about them. They were built in the last 5 years, so they don't really have a whole lot of historical significance to the lake. That white home, the sloping green rooftop. It's known as Fair Lawn, built to the late Charles Wacker. Mr. Wacker, he is president of the Chicago Planning Commission after the Chicago fire, and under his guidance, the well-organized redevelopment of the city took place. His plans included the Outer Drive, Union Station, the Soldier Field, the Shed Aquarium, and of course the ingenious double-A road named in his honor, Wacker Drive. This elegant Spanish-style home here is known as Casa del Sueño, or Dream House. Some of the more notable owners of this estate are Mr. and Miss William Bell of Chicago. Mrs. Bell is probably known better to Chicagoans as TV personality Miss Lee Phillip. And Mr. Bell, he is noted for creating the Emmy Award-winning series The Young and the Restless and the Bold and the Beautiful. Their boathouse there is made to look like an old lake steamer running into the ground. It's nicknamed the SS No-Go. It's now their guest house. Off to the right here, there's a large building on the bluff. That is the Geneva Inn. It's a luxurious European-style bed and breakfast. Also has a great restaurant called the Grand View. Quite appropriate because it has terrace-like seating where you get a grand view of the lake. But right now, we are entering into Buttons Bay, and Buttons Bay was named for Alexander H. Button. He was a local horticulturist, and he had a home here for many years. Much of Buttons Bay is now Bigfoot Beach State Park, with a 4th mile of sandy beach and 266 acres of public picnic, camp, and park area. But much of what now is Bigfoot Beach State Park and continuing all the way onto this point that we're approaching was once part of the most unique estate ever built here at the lake. It's originally known as Ceylon Court, and the home stood up on this bluff overlooking the lake until 1958. The building was brought here to the United States by the government of Ceylon, now island nation Sri Lanka, as their contribution to the 1893 Columbian Exposition in Chicago. After the exposition closed, it was purchased by Mr. F.R. Chandler. He had the home carefully dismantled, loaded on 26 railroad boxcars, shipped up here to the lake, and had it reassembled out onto the point which we're approaching, where it stood here until 1958. It's constructed of 19 different woods, all native to Ceylon. The exterior walls were varnished mahogany. The octagonal pagoda-shaped roof was covered in bright orange tile, which made it a very prominent landmark here for many years. A couple interesting things about the home is that all the beds hung from chains in the ceiling. That's because in Ceylon they had a very bad poisonous snake problem. And snakes would slither up the bedposts, eventually sleeping with you at night. So to eliminate that, they hung all the beds from chains in the ceiling. Now, that obviously wasn't needed here in the state of Wisconsin, but Mr. Chandler, he did not want to Americanize the home, so he followed suit with all the traditions that it had. Another interesting thing is that after construction, they realized that they did not use a single nail or screw in the entire home. They used long wooden pegs and dovetail joints to hold the entire structure together. But after undertaking this extensive project, the Chandlers only lived here for a couple of years before they sold their estate to Mr. and Miss John J. Mitchell. The Mitchells spent many summers here until 1928 when they were tragically killed in a car accident. Soon after that, the estate was then purchased by Frederick Leighton Maytag of the well-known Maytag Washing Machine Company, and this area of land is still today referred to as Maytag Point. He lived here until 1948, where he then sold his property to a developer, and that developer over the next 10 years subdivided a lot of the land. And then in 1958, at an auction where they auctioned off a lot of the things throughout the home, and then after that auction, he gave the home to the City of Lake Geneva Fire Department, and they used it as a control burn to practice their firefighting skills. Kind of an unfortunate way to see the home come to an end, but if you guys go to the Lake Geneva Public Museum, downtown Lake Geneva off of Highway 50, you'll see a great Ceylon Court display. Off to the right here where the flagpole is, there's a white home behind it. That at one time was owned by Mr. and Miss George Canales. The Canaleses, they were founders and former owners of Andy's Candies, internationally known manufacturer of after-dinner mints and chocolates. Andy's Candies is based out of Delavan, Wisconsin. Behind that gazebo is a townhouse development that's known as Somerset. It's built on the old Harry G. Selfridge estate, and home was known as Harold's Hall. That dated back to 1899. Mr. Selfridge, he was partnered with Marshall Field in Chicago, where he then moved to London, England, where he started Selfridge's department stores, as well known there as Marshall Field's was in Chicago. Off to the right here on the hill, there's a condominium development known as Vista del Lago. That translates